You ever have one of those weekends where peace and quiet is all you're chasing, but instead, you walk right into a war? That's exactly how it went for me. I arrived at my late brother's lake cabin, the one he left me in his will, only to find the memorial garden he built destroyed. 20 years of lavender, lights, and memories stomped into the dirt. At first, I thought maybe it was a freak accident. But then I checked the security footage my brother David had installed cameras years ago. And there they were. A group of teenagers throwing a full-blown rave on my property. Leading the chaos? Jack Walsh, and yes, if that name rings a bell, it's because his mother is Karen, the HOA president. Yeah, around here, people just call her that Karen. The night before, I'd politely asked Jack and his friends to leave the property. No threats, no shouting. Just a calm, "Hey, this is private land. Could you take the party elsewhere?" Jack looked me dead in the eye and said, "This is HOA common land, old man. You want quiet? Go home." I thought maybe it'd end there. But when I saw them on camera saying, "Let's teach the old man a lesson," then ripping up every flower and smashing my brother's carved wooden bird, that's when I realized this wasn't about a party. It was personal. The next morning, Karen herself showed up on my porch, holding a stack of HOA papers like she was delivering a verdict. She claimed my brother's property was now community land, and I was violating HOA rules just by existing there. Standing in my own doorway, I was told I had no right to the land I grew up visiting because the HOA had redrawn the lines. That's when the real harassment began. I put up a small sign, "Pilgrim Property. Please respect." The next day, it was floating in the lake. A formal violation showed up in my mailbox, $500 for unauthorized signage. Then came more fines. A towel left on my porch. A chair angled the wrong way. Even the color of my kayak. Each one cited a vague clause Karen had written herself, Section 12C, which gave her power to force a sale if someone violated too often. And guess what? The HOA had already sent me a fair market offer to buy the land. $75,000 for a lakeside property worth 10 times that. I almost gave in. I sat by the water with a glass of whiskey, wondering if maybe I should just walk away. But then I found something David left behind, an original survey map from 1987, signed and filed with the county. Turns out, the lakefront and the lake itself legally belonged to my family, not the HOA. The map they'd been using? A fake. They'd redrawn the lines years ago, and everyone had just accepted it. But Karen knew. And still, she let her son trespass, even helped him. I didn't announce what I found. I just emailed the HOA saying, "I've come across some interesting documentation." 2 hours later, the cops showed up, along with Karen, smug and smiling. She handed the officer an appraisal claiming they had the right to seize the property at community value. Said I was hurting the neighborhood by not cooperating. But Officer Rodriguez, a guy who looked like he'd seen his share of HOA drama, told us both to get lawyers. So I did. And that's when the real story cracked wide open. My neighbor Henry, a soft-spoken man with silver hair and a memory like a vault, had been keeping tabs on Karen for years. He helped me file a request for the HOA's financial records, which is every homeowner's legal right. Karen stalled, delayed, claimed privacy concerns. Meanwhile, the fines kept coming. She was stacking the deck, trying to make me look like a serial rule breaker. Then Henry hit me with the bombshell. $47,000 paid to a landscaping company called Greenscape, registered at Karen's home address. Fake invoices. HOA money. Used to fund her personal projects. Armed with the documents, the footage, and the original map, we called for an emergency HOA meeting. 42 neighbors showed up. Karen tried to run the show, even announced a vote to force the sale of my property. But when I hooked up my laptop to the projector, the room went silent. First, I played the security footage of Jack trashing the garden. Gasps. Then, the county survey showing the true property lines. Murmurs. Finally, the invoices. $47,000 in fake expenses, all going to Karen's house. When we showed her name on the Greenscape registration, she broke. "Fine," she snapped. Maybe I used some funds, but I deserve to be paid for my service. Right in front of Officer Rodriguez, who had quietly walked in and heard everything. Within 2 weeks, Karen was charged with fraud. Jack had to pay for the damage and complete community service. And Henry? He was voted in as interim HOA president. I rebuilt the garden, opened it to the public in memory of David, and thought it was over. But just last month, I got a letter from Karen's lawyer, suing me for emotional distress. Even behind bars, she just couldn't let it go. Some people don't know how to lose. But me? I'm still standing, and I'm not moving an inch. So tell me, was justice served, or did karma finally catch up? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you've ever stood your ground against a bully and came out swinging, like, comment, and subscribe.